Hi everyone, welcome to Fat to Thin Senior, RNY. I'm Raven. I was 76 years old when I had gastric bypass surgery on December 19th to December 16th, 2019. Last week I talked about trigger foods and how to think about them, maybe change something, figure out where you're at. Anyway, in this vlog I'll be talking about intuitive eating and what I eat in a day. If you're curious, please continue to watch and join me on this journey. Last week I talked about trigger foods and maybe a different way of dealing with them. This week I'll be talking about intuitive eating and what I eat in a day. First of all, let me start with what I think intuitive eating is. And first of all, I want you to know that I'm not a member of anybody's profession of any kind. And so, you take my words as a non-professional, okay? I think that intuitive eating is being like a newborn without any food prejudices of any kind. So you're willing to try and willingness to try anything, everything. Not anything, but everything, I think it's a way of eating that if you were a kid with no problems, all types of food were available, you had seen people eating all kinds of things, that you would choose what to eat, and you would choose pretty much randomly, wisely, and get all of the nutrients that you need because of the different colors, the different textures, the different tastes of different kinds of foods. And ultimately would end up getting the nutrient that your body needed. You would be satisfied with the taste of whatever it is you ate, or if you didn't like it, you wouldn't eat it again. But, you would choose like a kid, like somebody who didn't know any better. They just know that this is food, So I think that kid would take sufficient quantities to satisfy and not overindulge. Would eat basically healthy foods with other stuff thrown in, because why not? Would be interested in trying all kinds of foods from all over the world, considering that we pretty much eat the same food, it's just cooked a little differently. Pretty much. And overall, I think that child would be healthy as a result. My goal with intuitive eating is to stop obsessing over food. I think I'm getting there. I'm not as crazy as I used to be, especially when I was counting calories or carbs or fats or whatever it was, according to whatever diet it was. I was always thinking about food. I think intuitive eating is to eat what I want, when I want it, and in reasonable amounts, because I ate it when I want it, instead of obsessing about it all day long. I mean, it's like thinking of cookies. By the time you get to the evening, you'll eat half the box. If you took that one cookie that morning, you may not have, And I think intuitive eating is to eat what my body wants. I know sometimes I'm seriously looking for protein, and I'll go through nuts and beans and meat and whatever, and I'm not interested in broccoli, cabbage, or whatever, And then there's the other times where I am just absolutely craving vegetables, and I'll eat vegetables, stir-fried, soup, any kind of way I can get it in there, So I think it's a more enjoyable way of eating too, and I found that it tastes really good. And when my body doesn't need it anymore, it doesn't taste good anymore. So you just don't eat it anymore. You go on to the next thing, you know. I find that I'm enjoying what I'm eating. Or if I don't, then I don't have a problem getting rid of it, you know. Go find something else that tastes better. I figure if I'm going to stuff my face with calories, I might as well put stuff in there that tastes good. And sometimes ice cream doesn't taste good. Candy doesn't taste good. And I want you to know, chocolate-covered donuts do not taste good. They taste like wax. It doesn't even taste like chocolate. It tastes like wax on the outside of some kind of cardboardy kind of something slightly sweet on the inside with no flavor. None of it has any flavor. And it's just blah, blah. Anyway, so I find that I'm enjoying what I eat. So I don't have any problem throwing that bag or box of donuts in the garbage because it didn't taste good. I mean, why eat it, you know, if it doesn't taste good? You know, the other thing about intuitive eating is that it helps me to recognize places that need work. Like, for instance, recognizing that chocolate-covered donuts don't taste good. Doesn't matter which brand it is, it doesn't taste good. It tastes like wax with cardboard in the middle, you know? What can I tell you? I found that a lot of crackers don't taste good to me. Like Cheez-Its, Cheese Nips used to be my go-to. It doesn't taste good, and it doesn't sit well on my stomach at all. I generally feel nauseous. And I gotta say, the last 4, 5, 6 times I bought Cheez-Its or crackers or something like that because I was looking for that kind of crunch, I felt nauseous. So I might as well stop buying that stuff, right? And I ended up throwing it out. In each instance, I ended up throwing it out. So the other thing about intuitive eating, I think, is to become more aware and recognize what I like, what I don't like, what my body likes, what it does, you know, doesn't like. So anyway, that's my thought about what intuitive eating is. I did not go crazy and do searches like I do on stuff. I mean, when I was into keto, I looked at everything keto there was to see on the internet, and probably some stuff that I shouldn't have seen. You know, and on, depending on what diet it was, you know. In this case, I looked up the definition of intuitive eating and said, yeah, I'll give it a try. But I didn't want to have any preconceived notions, ideas, you know. I wanted to be able to look at what my body is saying, and when I'm recognizing that I need, like, water or whatever. Most times it's water. At any rate, so what I eat in a day, I found, looking back over time, because I have not been recording them, what I've been eating, is that I seem to want protein and or something heavy, a heavy food in the morning. Like I feel like I want to eat dinner in the morning. And then I eat a salad or something light in the evening. I'll get fruit munchies, like I have fruit pops, frozen fruit pops, frozen grapes, you know, grapes, oranges, whatever. Usually grapes or frozen pops. And that's about it. Now, I have to admit that I did have a case of what I called greed, and what my friend said isn't greed. I need to get my deadly sins together. It was gluttony, okay? She went to get Chinese food, and I said, oh, yeah, okay, that sounds good. I haven't gone for Chinese food at least 6 months. You know, let me, I don't feel like cooking. What the hell? So my eyes got the better of me. I ordered $23 worth of food. I have been eating this Chinese food now. Today is day 5. I still have about a quarter of it left. So I think I'm going to toss it out. I think I've had enough. it's gotten to the point now where it's beginning to not really taste that great, you know. At the beginning it did. It was pretty cool. So that was definitely a case of gluttony. Fortunately, I had this RNY surgery that will not allow me to eat that, because I am sure that when I was at my 230, 270 pounds, whatever it was, I would have eaten that whole thing and been looking for something to munch afterwards. So there's no way I could have eaten it. But I gotta say, though, that I always said, oh, it was greed that did this to me, you know. But she said it was gluttony. For some reason, using the word gluttony just really got to me. For some reason, greed didn't do it. But gluttony did. I went, you know, to see what the definition of greed and gluttony is, because I'm thinking, okay, they're pretty much the same thing. But for some reason, gluttony just kind of dug at me, you know. And gluttony is just excessive consumption. So, and greed is excessive collection. So in this case, it was a case of both, because I collected a lot of food. But it wasn't gluttony because I couldn't eat it. And so it wasn't excessive consumption. I thought about it, you know, but it didn't happen. So yesterday, which was Thursday, I recorded at Spark People what I ate during the day. So I stayed at 1,491 calories. According to them, I should be somewhere between 1,430 and 1,781. So I was on the low side. But this is almost 1,500 calories. Proteins was 53. My doctor had said 60 to 90. But hey, I was close. And the carbs were a little high at 179, which is above what they recommend. The fats was up a little bit too. So yesterday morning, I had mushu pork with combination fried rice. Somewhere around lunchtime, I was looking for something, so I had a bag of pineapple, frozen pineapples, pieces that I had thawed out in the refrigerator, so I had 4 ounces of that. And for dinner, I had a Santa Fe salad. I did have 2 oatmeal cookies, and then I threw out the bag because I found myself automatically reaching for 2 more oatmeal cookies. And I kept thinking about them and stuff like that, so I threw them in the garbage. As I said, food tastes different. It's like the chocolate covered donuts. It doesn't taste good. And my stomach is reacting differently. Now I'm a little over a year out from this RNY surgery, and I'm still finding these unusual things, or these things I didn't notice before. Maybe they just weren't there before, you know. But my body is acting differently to bread and pretzels and Cheez-Its and Cheez Nibs crackers and stuff like that. And I've said before that meat is just not sitting on my stomach very well. So I've been eating a lot of beans and legumes of different kinds. And both of them, the bready things and the meaty things, I get this nauseous feeling that, you know, any second I'm going to toss it up. But I think I'm learning. I think I'm getting this hang of this intuitive eating thing. I'm not gaining any weight. Of course, I'm not losing any weight either. But I'm not gaining any weight, and I'm feeling pretty good. And I think that I'm eating better than I was. I think that food is not running around in my head all the time now. And I keep reminding myself, remember, you don't have to eat it all right now, you know, because I probably would have tried one more mouthful of that combination fried rice, which was very good. They had shrimp in it that were that big, and more than 1 or 2, you know, which was amazing. Anyway, so Rowley is doing good. And he's getting better all the time with people and dogs, and even golf carts he's getting a little bit better with, you know. He loves running in the desert, but I've had to keep him out of the desert because of the coyotes. I looked up coyote mating, and they mate from January to March. So the males will be more aggressive out there in the desert. And then they pup from March to August, and it's very dangerous for small dogs and cats under those circumstances, you know. So I walked him this morning at the bottom part of the desert entrance, and then along the edges of the area that's close to the road. And Rowley won't step on the tarmac without a leash on, which is pretty cool, actually. You know, so I can let him run along the edges, and he won't run out into the road. He'll come over to me when he's ready to cross the road, you know, which is pretty cool. And stand there while I just, you know, take my time clipping him up and all that kind of stuff. The thing is I would say, you know, go to the dog parks. I mean, we have small dog parks here, but usually it's one person in the park at a time, you know, with their dogs, because the park, it's very small. I wouldn't say it's bigger than 20 by 20 feet, you know, either one of them. And there are 3 of them here in this park. The thing is that when we're in places where other people come up with their dogs, you know, whatever, and they're visiting or whatever, he won't visit with the other dogs, except other than Shifty. I mean, because he lived with Shifty for a year, you know. He won't interact with them, and he comes over to me and wants to sit on my lap, you know, and then he sits on my lap and he watches the other dogs interact, but he himself won't get down. So taking him to a large dog park is pretty useless, because he won't get down and run, you know. He will sit there and watch them, and that's it. I gotta say though, he's funny, and he's warm, and I mean, he really is warm. He makes a really good hot water bottle, and he's loving, you know. And I enjoy his company. You know, he's pretty cool. And he's still stealing stuff, you know. It's just amazing. I've managed to pick up 7 toys out of his play area, because it was getting profound, the amount of toys he had there. I picked up 7 of them, and he hasn't noticed that they're gone. So maybe I'll pack those away, and then I can attack the other ones later, you know. But I tell you, some of the toys that he has, if they are moved, he knows it, you know, and he'll put them back where they were, which is interesting. Anyway, next week I'll be talking about the RNY surgery, diet, and weight loss. And the question is, do you like yourself? So to sum up, I'm feeling good, excited, energized, terrific, fabulous, wonderful, and a few other superlatives. I'd make that choice for surgery again, absolutely. It's opened up a lot of stuff for me, a lot of stuff. Like coming onto YouTube. So anyway, please subscribe, comment, and share this video. Please share, okay? Don't forget to click show more to see the stuff in the description below. Thank you for watching and listening, and thanks for those of you who have subscribed. And I'll see you next Friday, okay? Take care of you and yours, and blessed be.